Hi, I'm Dave, and I'm going to demonstrate how to operate the Precision Coffee Maker. We use this for fellowship hour to make the coffee. We make regular coffee and decaf coffee. The first thing I want to talk about is that there are directions in the drawer, written directions directly underneath the coffee maker. There's also written directions on the wall to the right of the coffee maker. I want to talk now about the control panel on the coffee maker. Up above, you can see scrolling a view window. This is basically the coffee maker talking to you either digitally or numerically. Below that is an on and off red control button. This supplies the electricity to the whole coffee making system. We never ever turn that off. Notice there is a post-it note referring to do not turn off the red on and off button. The next three buttons in succession are called green ready buttons. The coffee maker will not brew coffee until it is lit up. And by lit up, I mean the little light that's to the right of each of the ready lights. So when they talk about green ready lights, that's what they're referring to. Across from each of the green ready lights is basically a depiction or picture, if you will, of the amount of coffee that it makes. It shows the silhouette of the coffee shuttle. That's the thing that holds the coffee after it's brewed. The first one in succession shows it totally full of liquid. That's the maximum we can make, which is 1.5 gallons. Second one down is 2/3, which is 1 gallon. And the last amount, the smallest amount the brewmaster will make is 1/2 gallon. Before we can do anything, you're going to walk in to make coffee. You're going to notice that the view window says asleep. That means that the coffee maker is basically holding the water temperature inside the tank at 140. We need 180 degrees, so we have to wake up the coffee maker. In other words, we need to send a signal to heat the water to 180. You can press any one of the green ready lights, not all, just one. You hear a clunk sound, and the coffee maker now is heating up the water, like your hot water heater at home. Now, this takes 8 minutes to get it up to when it will be 180, and you'll see the ready lights turn on. During that time, some of that time, I want to explain the rest of the components of making coffee. We have a brew basket here at the top. That brew basket holds a coffee filter. The coffee filters are located directly underneath the coffee maker in a cabinet drawer. The coffee filter goes inside the brew basket, kind of form it to the side so it's not folded in. Okay, so shape the paper filter so it forms to the filter basket. The next thing is we have to determine how much coffee we're going to make. Typically for fellowship hour, you are going to make 1.5 gallons of regular coffee. And the decaf, you're going to make 1 gallon. So when you look at your written instructions, it talks about how much coffee you're going to have to use. These are called pillow packs. And in the drawer directly under the coffee maker, there are pillow packs. The regular coffee is called organic Colombian. The decaf coffee is called breakfast decaf. For demonstration purposes, we are going to make just the smallest amount, which is, again, the 1/2 gallon. You look at your instruction sheets, you only need 1 pillow pack to make that 1/2 gallon. There's a scissors in the drawer by the pillow packs. Cut off the top of the pillow pack, sprinkle the coffee in the bottom, use the bag to spread it around so it's evenly distributed. Shake it, slide it into the coffee maker. Next step you can do in preparation is to get the coffee shuttle ready. Coffee shuttle is a glorified thermos bottle. It has these components. It has a drip pan on the bottom to catch drips from people opening the valve to get coffee. One important thing about making coffee is don't assume that this carafe is empty. Open the valve to make sure there's nothing in it. Because if there's something in it and you're going to add more to it, it can only hold so much. So let's say there's a half gallon of coffee in here. You're now making 1.5 gallons. It's got to come out the top and go all over the place. So again, make sure it's empty. So that's your valve. You got a carrying handle. And probably the most important component is the screw-in lid, like the top to a thermos bottle. You come in to make coffee. In most cases, you will find the shuttles like this. Everything's ready to go. The cap is off. Most important thing, you must have the cap off when you're brewing coffee. If you don't have the funnel open, the coffee is going to go through the brew basket, hit the cap, and again, all over everything. So, cap is off. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to slide the shuttle into place. If you notice back here, there's a little white plunger, plastic plunger. That is a safety device. And the coffee maker will not brew unless that shuttle has pushed it in to the inside of the coffee maker. So it's a switch. So again, we get the shuttle, cap off, push back. If you have the handle back, like so, it's impossible to push that plunger in. So the handle has to be forward, push in, it centers to make sure the coffee goes directly into the funnel. Cap is off again. All right, we are ready to brew coffee. The only thing we're waiting on is for the ready lights to come on, and that'll be in a couple minutes. So while that's doing that, let's talk about the other component of this coffee maker. It's a water faucet. It's a hot water faucet. So we need hot water for tea and hot cocoa. We have 2 stainless steel thermoses in the kitchen. They're kept right by the coffee shuttles. Screw off the top. Draw the hot water right out of the faucet. Pour it in with this pint measuring container, which is usually located to the left of the water faucet. Fill them approximately 2/3 full, 3/4 full. Screw the top on. And those go sit out by the tea bags and hot chocolate. People, all they have to do is press the button on top and pour. We're going to break away until we get the signal that the green ready lights go on, and then we'll pick it up from there. Okay, as you can see now, the green ready lights are lit. That means that we have 180 to 190 degree water. The coffee maker is set to go. All we have to do is press the appropriate button. We're making 1/2 gallon for demonstration purposes. When you're making the regular coffee, you will be pressing the top one for 1.5 gallons. So I'm going to press the last one, which is the 1/2 gallon. You'll hear a click, and then you'll see numerically up here it says 2 minutes and 54 seconds. And what it's doing is counting backwards, and that's how long it'll take to brew 1/2 gallon of coffee. The more coffee you brew, the longer it will take. I believe the 1.5 gallons takes 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Now, while it's brewing, don't be concerned that it stops several times. What's happening is you're drawing hot water out of the hot water tank, and just like your hot water heater at home, water is being added. When the water is being added, it has to be reheated again to 180. So it will shut down and stop, and then it will kick in again. And we'll take it to that point when that happens, just to show you, and just to show you that it will then start up again. Notice that the cap is off. Notice that the hot coffee is going in directly to the shuttle because it's lined up perfectly center because we pushed that plunger in. Remember that when you're brewing coffee or getting hot water, it's all 100 to 190 degrees here. So be careful and think as you do things. Okay, it just stopped pumping water in to brew. Again, water has gone back into the water tank. It's got to be reheated up. Then the coffee maker will then kick in again. We're at 1 minute and 64 seconds to the end of brewing. Okay, now it's going to start up again because it's hot enough and the reservoir has been replenished with more water. Okay, we're going to cut away until we get down to where it's almost brewed. Then we'll come back and continue from that point. Okay, the brewing stage is almost over. Window says drip. Okay, so it stopped pumping water to brew coffee, but you have to remember there's residual or hot water and coffee still in the brew basket. So this drip cycle is allotting for it to drain out. I like to shake it a little bit, give it a hand, helping it drain. So the window says drip. Notice you cannot pull the brew basket out until it's past the drip stage. There's a little piston here that comes down, a safety device. Feasibly, physically, you can't pull that brew basket out. Again, that's to protect you from getting burned. Remember, after you get done making the regular batch of coffee, you're then going to make a gallon of decaf coffee. So that means you need the decaf shuttle. Okay, now it says done. So in other words, it's done dripping. The brew cycle is totally done. We pull out, shake it a little bit again, pull out the brew basket with the grounds, dump it in the garbage can, and the brew basket then is ready for you to do the decaf. Now before we do that, we're going to pull the shuttle out. We're going to put the cap on. That seals it up. That'll keep that coffee in there, drinkable hot, 180, 170 for 4.5 hours. We then have to load the shuttle onto the coffee beverage cart, which is a gray cart. It has a sign on it that says, "This cart for coffee shuttles only." We put the cart as close as we can to the coffee shuttle, right up against the counter, pull out the drip pan, lift up the handle, and with one hand grab the round area where the drip pan was, and using the handle, slide it onto the cart. Put the handle forward, put the drip pan in. You now have one brewed shuttle of regular coffee. You repeat the same steps to do the decaf. Once the coffee shuttles are on the cart, you wheel it out to the front of the beverage line. Do not take the shuttles off the cart. Leave them on the cart. It's designed for that. When you're done at the end of fellowship hour, please leave the cart and shuttles right at the end of the line. The custodians will take care of rinsing them out, washing them, putting them back together, and putting them back over to the right of the coffee maker so they're ready for the next fellowship hour the next week. This is how you make coffee for fellowship hour using the Precision Brew coffee machine.